Good afternoon, City of Melbourne. Unsurprisingly, there's been yet another criminal act in our beloved microcity. This crime is one of 100 billion crimes that has taken place, and surprisingly, have all shown some relation to each other. It's as if all of them had originated from one crime. To acknowledge Dr. Steelek's Unit 1-2 Biology class, today, the crime will be discussed as a cell analogy. Thus the name, the cell is a crime. The laws are what constitute for the order within a crime, just as the nucleus is in a cell. The nucleus stores all the genetic material and coded instructions which are essential for the production of proteins and other important molecules within a cell. After a few long days at work, a team of investigators that have been trying to solve the crime have found several suspects. This is all paralleled within a cell, as the investigators are ribosomes that use evidence from a crime to find suspects, which in a cell's case are proteins. The ribosomes create proteins using energy in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. The energy of the crime is evidence, which powers the entire crime, because without any evidence, you can't make any advancements in solving a crime. In the cell, ATP is created through a long process by which chloroplasts use the energy from the sun to create glucose via photosynthesis. Then, mitochondria use this glucose, and during chemical reactions, the energy is released, and this is used to form ATP molecules, as said in the Nelson Biology VCE Unit 1 and 2 Biology book. Again, this is paralleled in a crime, as our chloroplasts are the forensic scientists that create clues, which are then used by other investigators, mitochondria, to create the much-needed evidence. The large central vacuole, which is very distinct in a cell, plant cell, that normally stores nutrients, wastes, products, and the water used by chloroplasts when creating glucose, are also linked in a crime, as the vacuoles, which act as archive, also aid in developing clues. Once evidence is obtained, and the investigators have developed some suspects, detectives can question and modify these suspects. In the cell, the proteins, which are the suspects, are modified and packaged at the rough endoplasmic reticulum. If suspects are considered to be potentially guilty for committing the crime, they'll be placed in a police car and then transported to a law court, where the jury will decide whether they should be sent to prison or not. In a cell, after the proteins have been modified in the rough endoplasmic reticulum, they are placed into a transport vesicle, which is one of those, and a transport to the Golgi apparatus, or Golgi body, as you may call it, which is the court in the crime scene, where parts of the Golgi apparatus membrane are able to pinch off into small vesicles, as said in Nelson Biology VCE book. If the proteins need to leave the cell, they are placed in a secretory vesicle, which is this, which attaches to the plasma membrane. Via exocytosis, it leaves the cell. The plasma membrane is a second inner layer, which is right under the cell wall. These vesicles either transport the proteins in or out of the cell. This is also seen within a crime, because if the suspect is going to be sent to prison, they are placed in a prison transportation bus and transported to prison as their sentence by law. The plasma membrane is a semi-permeable membrane, which, as written in the Brock Biology of Microorganisms, is a barrier that keeps ions, proteins, and other molecules from entering and leaving the cell. In a crime, the plasma membrane is human rights, as it can be broken and some things can penetrate it, which is the same as breaking the law. Covering the plasma membrane is the cell wall, which is the outermost layer of a plant cell, which is secreted by the cell, but yet is not a part of it. However, it provides the cell with both structural support and protection. In a crime, the cell wall is similar to bystanders, who are not necessarily part of the cell, but nevertheless aid in solving the crime by providing valuable information in regards to the crime. I'd like to inform you that the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which is there, it is not studded with ribosomes, hence the name smooth ER, as to be thought of. Its function is to create lipids that are used in the phospholipid bilayer and also in vesicles. This is very similar in a crime, as ethics are used in creating and maintaining human rights. As you can tell, even though this crime may have been very small, and yet it is one of many, it is still very complex. Thank you, Microben, for listening. Good evening and good night.